And our next speaker is a woman from Queens. Came all the way from Queens here to share strength, hope, and experience on sponsorship. I give you Brenda.
Hi family, my name is Brenda and I'm a grateful and blessed recovering addict. I want to welcome anybody that's new, just coming back, and tell you that you're definitely in the right place. I want to thank Staten Island for having me be a part of this celebration, because this is a celebration of life. Anytime one addict comes together in unity, that's how this program works. That's what the first edition tells me. You know, a little bit about myself. Before I even came into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I shot dope. You know what I'm saying? I drank methadone for 13 years, you know, and it's only by God's grace that he allowed me the strength to walk into Narcotics Anonymous and know that, guess what? If I don't change the person I brought in here, I'm gonna die. You know, and I kept that real up front for me, and I still keep that up front for me today, because it's about getting serious with this disease, because the disease is just waiting to knock each and every one of us down. It don't care nothing about where you came from, how much money you got, what your prestige is, what kind of car you drive. All it cares about is ripping your behind down. And by the grace of God, each and every one of us has made it into Narcotics Anonymous just for the day we ain't used. And I keep it just that simple. You know, for me, when I came in here, right, you couldn't tell me nothing, because see, I came from the streets. I came from the streets about making money. That's all I wanted to do, was make money. Now, you can't tell me what to do unless it's about making money, because I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? And when I came in here, I had a real big problem with you telling me what to do. So I started walking around, by the grace of God, I didn't use, because it was people that I know I used with that wasn't getting high a day at a time. And that was my attraction at that time. You know what I'm saying? My attraction was, I seen people that wasn't using, that I used in the street with, that was staying clean a day at a time, and they was shining and they was glowing, and they had a different kind of language than what it was when I was on the street. And that gravitated me to make a meeting, sit up front, learn to listen and listen to learn, because this disease is just waiting on your behind. You know what I'm saying? I had to come in here and I had to realize that it's the first one of anything that could take me outside of myself. See, I thought in the beginning it was just a drug, and I really gravitated to that. I said I can't use, but I was using everything else because it didn't click yet. You know what I'm saying? So I started using men. I started using clothes. I started using money to take me away from what I was feeling. And then I had to come in here and I had to allow y'all to show me how to do this a day at a time. Now, when y'all told me about the steps, I said, steps? What steps? You talking about the steps you go downstairs and come back up? Because I wasn't talking about no change. I knew that it was something that I had to change, but I was fearful of the unknown. I was scared to change that person that I brought in here, because I felt that if I changed it, I was going to lose something, that I was going to miss something. You know, and that's how I lived all my life. Now you telling me I got to come in here and I got to strip down and I got to allow somebody to tell me what to do? I had a real big problem with that. But as the brother shared before me, until the pain outweighed the pleasure. See, I can no longer just come in here without the just not using. Because after a while, after you get clean, you have to sit with yourself. And I don't care how much I tried to substitute one for another, after a while, just like the drug, it stopped working. I had to realize how come I kept getting in the same relationships with people that I know wasn't worth nothing, never was gonna be nothing, and never had nothing. Because I found out that I was a needy person, but I didn't know that until I got a sponsor who had the working knowledge of the 12 and 12 to help me with some direction to know that, guess what? You ain't got to live like that no more. So when she told me that, I said I don't, because I never knew I didn't have to live like that no more. See, I always thought I did have to live. And even though I put down the drug, I still was supposed to live like that. But as I became teachable, and as I started feeling that emptiness, that no matter what I tried to substitute when I felt lonely, no matter what I tried to substitute when I felt less than, no matter what I tried to substitute when I didn't have no money and I didn't have what I thought that I should have. I had to realize that guess what? Until you learn how to accept you, you have nothing. So I got a sponsor who has the working knowledge of the 12 and the 12 who can guide me through this program of recovery because I wanted to find out who I was. And yeah, I was scared because now you telling me I got to reveal me. Now you telling me that I got to face me for who I am, not the Miss Pretty Girl. Not the one that can cover up from the goal with the clothes, but the one that feels less than, unworthy of, feeling like she got to do what she got to do in order to feel loved. I wanted to know who that person was. So I got a sponsor, and my sponsor wasn't a woman, it was a man. Because when I came into Narcotics Anonymous, wasn't that many women with time. Unless you went to the other fellowship. So the God of my understanding gave me what I needed. And I thank God for the sponsor that I got. And it wasn't about me shaming myself because I didn't even like myself. So who was I to feel like you gonna take what I'm giving you and turn it around into something that I never even knew who I was anyway? Of the fourth step. Girl, boy, whoever you is, you better get into that fourth step. You better get some freedom so you can have some freedom. I hear a lot of people sponsoring people. They got 1, 2, and 3 and they sponsoring somebody. Sponsorship ain't no joke, y'all. It ain't about how many sponsors I got so I could go around and say I got 5 and 6 sponsors and I ain't trying to walk this walk. It's about attraction rather than promotion. When I sponsor somebody, I made a commitment to put that person in my hands and try to direct them through this program. Ain't about my opinion, it's about the basic text, giving them some principles so they can have some principles. Now, if I don't have no principles, what I'm gonna give you? I'm gonna give you the same thing I had in the street, my own principles. It says in the basic text, a sponsor, it says in the sponsorship, I ain't nobody's secretary or relationship counselor. I don't get in listen. Let me tell you something. If you think I'm going to be on the phone 20 hours while you talk about your man and I give you some information and you don't take it and 2 days later you with him, you crazy. And then guess what? I'm lined up messed up. Because I gave you some information, you didn't take it, so I'm feeling the resentment. See, I went through that. I went through that, learning how to mind my business. See, I went through that thinking that I could direct your life. Not really understanding what sponsorship is about because it says in the tradition, over a period of time, we learn this here. It don't come just like that because you got time in this program. Experience is the best teacher. And when I realized that my sponsors is only a product of me, because what I give them, they have to be able to give that to somebody else. Sponsorship is a two-way street. So I gotta watch what I say to people because in turn, they're gonna have to give that same thing back to me. So if I'm giving my mess, what you think I'm gonna get back? And see, I got to realize that when I can be an example to the power that let them know that even though I'm your sponsor, I can still get honest with you.
All right. Say that.
I can still let you know that, yeah, I was lusting last week.
That's right.
And yeah, I didn't care nothing about he had a girl. I was like, she ugly anyway. Why? Because my lust issues kicked up. And at the time that they was kicking up, I was at a lonely point. And see, I shared that with one of my sponsees. Because I wanted her to know that you ain't the only one that go through that. That when I can get honest with you, you can get honest with me. I ain't gotta always be on, oh, I don't go through that. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be feeling like that. Oh, how dare you not look at him like that. Come on, let's get real now. That I'm still growing through this process. And in order for me to get what I need, I got to give it to somebody else. And when I share that, I not only give hope to someone else, but I also tell on myself. Because see, even though it looks good, I know me, a man for me, and I keep it real green. A man for me is a drug. When I pick it up, the kids don't get fed. And you better not let me have a bad day with my man. You might not eat for 2 weeks. And God forbid, if the relationship don't work, I ain't washing for 4 weeks. Now tell me that ain't a drug. Remember when you didn't wash up for 4 weeks. Remember when the kids didn't eat for 3 weeks. Remember when you wanted to pull a cover over your head and didn't want to even see the light. And if it was light, you would have sworn it was dark because you had the shades down. And see, I got to keep that real up front. And how I keep that real up front is sponsorship. Sponsees. I realized today that it ain't about just because I got almost 13 years clean, that I keep it real green for me, because I know where I came from. If none of y'all know where y'all came from, I know where I came from, and I know where I don't want to go back to. And it's about me always keeping it honesty, because see, even with time, I can tell myself, don't share that. Oh no, you cannot share that, girl. If you share that with all the time you got, they might say to you, that's how I'm gonna be when I get that much time. So then, you walk around thinking like, oh, I'm all right, what's up? Dead inside. Walking around like there is no hope. See, I realized today that it ain't about how much time you got, it's how much work you're doing in this program. So I know anytime anybody asks me to be a part of Narcotics Anonymous, I put down my image, I put aside my clothes, and I do what I gotta do, because I remember if it wasn't for Narcotics Anonymous, I wouldn't be alive today. So I realized today that I have to push aside whatever it is I'm feeling, even in sponsorship. Listen, if you want me for a sponsor, you better be ready to do some work. Because I don't believe staying in this program just existing a day at a time, talking about, oh, I'm going to a function and you ain't even went through the first step yet. See, this disease is cunning, baffling, and insidious. And if me being a trusted servant of Narcotics Anonymous with the principles of Narcotics Anonymous allow you to just sit there and think that is all right, I'm no longer a trusted servant. Because the God that I serve tells me it's about being honest and the truth. And sometimes people can't deal with the truth, but that's okay. If I see it, I have to share it. And it ain't about me trying to be the great I am. It's about if women didn't tell me, yo, you ain't got to live like that no more. But I had to realize there's a way to say everything. See, it's a way. You got to tone it down. You can't just blurt out, yeah, well, you know you shouldn't be zooming F, D, and C. Why you sleeping with so-and-so? You know he married. No, it's about nurturing. It's about nurturing so that the person that you getting ready to help in these issues won't feel like they're dirty, because we already walked in here feeling like that. I learned if I can't help you, I'll leave you alone. And I realized that sponsorship is a nurturing process where we learn how to nurture our sponsees, where we learn how to let them know that guess what? You ain't got to live the way you was living, and I'm here because God put me in your life to help you and show you that, and the only way you're going to get that is through the principles of Narcotics Anonymous. People say, yeah, you know what? It's all right. You ain't got to get into these steps. But I've seen people die without the steps. Just existing without the steps. I'm just telling you that the steps is a stepping stone to this journey. It's a beginning. It's an opening of the doors. The steps have helped me tremendously, because through those steps I was able to open up and find out who I really am. And the choices that I make ain't the choices I used to make. The woman that I used to be is not the woman I am today. And it's only through God's grace and the people in Narcotics Anonymous and the women. That's why I gravitate to the women. Because I can feel that lost soul crying out for help and don't know which way to go. That hunger feeling of feeling like I'm lost and I need to be found. So it's only through the grace of God and sponsorship that God has blessed me into Narcotics Anonymous to become a sponsor. So if you're new, if you're thinking about you got your 12 and 12 and you want to sponsor somebody, I'm going to leave you with this. Sponsorship is very important. When you sponsor somebody, you taking that person in your hands, their life. This ain't no joke. My name is Brendan. I'm a grateful and blessed servant.
All right, we're going to move right along here.
And
Thank you, Brendan.
that was very good.